In this video, we're going to pause for a second and review how to find slope when we are given points.
We might not always be given a graph, but points instead. We can get a graphing paper and try to plot the points so that we can find this rise over run. But if the numbers get pretty big, we might not want to count the rise nor the run. For this type of situation, we're going to use the slope formula instead. The slope formula states that if you're given 2 points, you find the slope by subtracting the y values, y2 minus y1, over subtracting the x values. That's x2 minus x1. See, we can find the slope of these two sets of order pairs. The first thing that I'm going to recommend that you do is that you label your points so that we don't replace them in the wrong place. So let's start with A and let's label them. We're going to label this one x1 because it's the first point we're given, and this will be y1. And the second point will be labeled x2 and y2. So let's bring the formula down here. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we labeled the point and brought the formula. Now on the next step, we have to be very careful that we don't confuse the minus from the formula and the negative from the numbers. So we're going to take it one step at a time. So this will become y2. So y2 was this one. Then bring the minus from the formula before you move on. Now, when you're going to enter this next point, we need y1. So y1, I'm going to put this in parentheses, just so that I can distinguish between the minus that was in the formula and whatever number is in y1. Well, y1 is -5 over x2 here is 1 minus from the formula, and then I'm going to bring the number from x1, and in this case is 3. Now we have to be careful here. The negative is going to turn this into addition. So this is 1 plus 5. And underneath is still the same, 1 minus 3. So 1 plus 5 will be 6. And then 1 minus 3 will be minus 2. If we simplify, 6 divided by 2 is 3, but because I have different signs, the slope here will be -3. So this is the slope of the given 2 points. Let's try it again. First, we label them. This is x1, y1, and x2, y2. We bring the formula. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Next step, we bring y2 first. So y2 is -11. Let's bring it down. Minus from the formula, and then we're going to place y1 in parentheses here. y1 is 3. Remember, you don't need to write the parentheses. The only reason why I'm writing the parentheses is in case we have a minus versus negative situation, and we don't want to confuse when you have a minus from the formula with a negative from the number. Now we do x2. x2 here is 0, minus from the formula, and then we bring x1. x1 in this case is going to be 4. Okay? So since we don't have a negative minus situation, this is just -11 minus 3 over 0 minus 4. And what I mean by a negative minus situation is what we had here. So -11 minus 3, same sign, we add and keep the sign, that's -14, over 0 minus 4, that's -4. Now, in this case, 14 cannot be divided by 4 evenly, but they can be simplified. They both can be simplified by 2. So when I simplify, I get that the slope is going to be 7 over 2. And because they both have the same sign, that's going to turn into a positive slope. So then the slope of these 2 points is 7 over 2. So then let's try two more examples. Okay, so we begin by leveling the points. You always want to label your points, remember, so that you know exactly where they belong in your formula. Then we bring the formula down. So this would be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. It's always a good practice to write down the formula every time you need to use it in a specific example, because sometimes, especially we're taking exams, we get nervous, we forget, we think that we know them by heart because we've used them so much, and in reality we can end up making a mistake. So you always want to write it down. So let's start from left to right. I do y2, in this case will be 8, the minus from the formula, and then I open a parentheses just so that I'm careful of that minus negative situation. And then I bring y1. In this case, y1 is minus 2. Then I go to the denominator and I bring x2, which is in this case minus 3, negative 3, the minus from the formula, and then I open a parenthesis to bring x1. In this case, I get negative 3 for x1. And we do have a negative negative situation. You see that here? This is a negative negative, so that's going to turn into a positive. And I have another minus negative, so that's another positive here. So then this will be 8 plus 2 over minus 3 plus 3. Okay, let's add here. 8 plus 2 is 10. And very carefully, minus 3 plus 3, since they have different signs, we subtract. So 3 minus 3 will be 0. Since we end up with a 0 in the denominator, that means that the slope for this particular 2 points is undefined. Remember, it's undefined because we end up with a 0 in the denominator. Let's try the next one. We do it again. We label the points x1, y1, x2, y2. We bring down the formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We enter the values. So I bring y2 is 2 minus from the formula, bring down y1. So this was 2 from y2 and another 2 for y1. And then in the denominator, x2 is 3, the minus from the formula, and then I bring down x1. Well, x1 in this case is 6. Since I don't have a negative minus situation, this is just 2 minus 2 over 3 minus 6. Well, 2 minus 2 is 0, and 3 minus 6, that will be negative 3. This time we end up with a 0 in the numerator, and remember when that happens, that means that the slope is 0. So the slope is going to be 0 because the numerator is 0.
Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.